Hi, this is Michael Orrell from MobileBurn.com, and this is the LG Spectrum for Verizon Wireless. It's a 4G LTE capable Android smartphone. It features a 4.5-inch 720p resolution display and a 1.5 GHz dual-core processor. It's available now for $199.99 on a 2-year contract. So here's the Spectrum's box. It's rather nice. And the phone, and I'll power that up while we're going through the rest of the contents. There we go. Nothing in here. So we've got a micro USB cable for data and charging, and that goes with a rather large charger, USB charger. I imagine it's pretty big because there's actually a 3000 milliamp hour extended battery available for the device, so it needs a high powered charger. This is the SIM card for the device. Verizon already installed it for us since it's a 4G LTE device, as you can see right here. And of course we've got a user manual, warranty information, all that kind of good stuff. So here's the device itself. Let's power it up so we can see the display. It's a 4.5-inch 720p resolution IPS display, so that's 720 pixels by 1280 pixels, 4.5 inches across the diagonal. Nice and sharp, and it's covered by Corning Gorilla Glass to make it extra tough. See, on the front we've got a forward-facing 1.3 megapixel camera. 3 buttons down the bottom, not 4. We've got menu, home, and back. Kind of a dark metal chrome bezel around the edge. Device weighs about 144.5 grams and 10.5 millimeters thick according to my calipers. On the left-hand edge you see we have a volume control. Up top there's the covered micro USB port. Also works with a MHL adapter for outputting to an HDMI compatible television. 3.5 millimeter headphone jack, power standby button as well. Nothing too much to see on the right hand edge of the phone, and on the bottom edge all we have is the pry point for the rear cover. Now that rear cover is very glossy. It sports a faux carbon fiber finish, I guess you would call it, kind of a checkerboard pattern. 8 megapixel camera with 1080p HD video recording capability and an LED assist flash as well. Of course you see the 4G LTE logo right down here by the speaker port. I'll pop off the rear cover here so we can take a look at what's underneath it. You see we've got a 1830 milliamp hour battery here. Verizon and LG say that's good for 8.3 hours of talk time, or about 14.5 days of standby time. Micro SD memory card slot here, 16 gig card comes pre-installed. There's 4 gig of storage available in the device itself. Of course we have a SIM card slot since this is a 4G LTE device, but actually this device also supports GSM world roaming, something that wasn't announced initially. Verizon said that that capability will be enabled sometime in the first half of the year in all likelihood. In terms of basic specs, Verizon's Spectrum is very similar to the Nitro HD that's available on AT&T. They're both LTE devices on different bands. Both have 4.5-inch 720p displays, but the Verizon LG Spectrum is longer by a few millimeters. It's a couple millimeters wider, and it's actually a few tenths of a millimeter thicker when you actually test it. Overall, I think the Nitro HD has a much better body design. It's just a better looking phone, with a little bit curved glass here at the edge, and not the typical looking metal bezel. Also has a cooler back that's much more resistant to fingerprints than the high gloss version that the Spectrum has. Okay, let's take a look around the software aspect of the phone. Here's the home screen. See, we've got 7 home screen panels. Got a news widget right there. You can configure which categories you want. It's your friends, so you can see status updates. Weather widget up top, of course. Power control, Google search, and there's the Verizon data monitor, so you can see how much data you're using. Especially important when you're on a 4G LTE device like this. And this is an interesting full screen widget that LG has developed. Allows you to move through and get to your media in a kind of cool way. We'll look at some of those applications a little bit later. Home will of course take you back to the main screen. You can pinch gesture to get an overview, thumbnail view of all the different home screens. Just tap on one. Pull up the main menu. You can see this runs by default LG's category type main menu. You have the ability to change it to a list view as well with nice index tab, just like you'll see in the contacts application. Go back to categories. You can expand a category or shrink it just by tapping on it. You can see we've got quite a few pre-installed Verizon wireless applications. Unfortunately, they cannot be uninstalled, which is kind of a lot of things to be putting in there, but at least they're out of the way. You can just close off that category. All new applications that you download end up here in downloads, as does the Android market. So you can see speed tests right down there. I downloaded that to run some quick LTE tests. If I pull down the notification area, you'll see we have some shortcuts up top, changing the ringer mode and whether or not the screen auto rotates, Bluetooth, GPS, and airplane mode. Also, main connection here for Wi-Fi. You just tap on this and it takes you into the Wi-Fi section, so you can pick which network you want. Like some other recent Verizon wireless devices, it really pushes for you to use Wi-Fi to make an application use Wi-Fi when it's available. Take a quick look at some of the LG home screen management functions. You can see we have the ability to move from screen to screen. It shows you a grid layout so you can see what would fit where. Okay, I'll pull up widgets here and let's just see, pick one of these. Say home screen tips, just as something benign. And place it right there. You can also change wallpapers, and you notice we've got two different types of live wallpapers. This is typical live wallpapers that you see all the time, but we've also got charging wallpapers. And when you plug the device in, if one of these is in use, then you'll automatically see a different wallpaper that will show you the battery status and how far the charge is. So I'll give you a demo of that. Here's the Nightscape charging wallpaper in use right now, so you can see how it works. As the charge level increases, the lights work their way up the building. Okay, so let's take a look at the web browser here. You can see the Wi-Fi signal is quite weak. Now, I have to admit, I'm a little bit distance from the Wi-Fi router, but every other device I have does fine with it. This device has really struggled with Wi-Fi here on the third floor of my house. So it just suggests that it's a weak Wi-Fi antenna to start with. LTE performance seems to be on par with other 4G LTE devices I've tested from Verizon Wireless. So you can see we have multiple Windows support here. I'm going to jump into the full site so you can see what that looks like. Has built-in flash support. You'll probably see that on some of the ads. Still loading. Some of those ads have been pretty slow in coming up, it seems. But the device is still performing pretty decently even though it was still loading. You can see a picture of the HTC Resound. Even though it's very, very small, the text is still quite crisp. It's really a fine display. So let's go back to the home page. Again, you can take a look at the full website here. It looks quite good. Pull up the Gmail client. A quick test message we can take a look at. Not too much to see there though. Go back, hopefully the inbox is filled in a bit. And I'm going to jump over to one of the other labels so I can find some better test messages here. Definitely see how slow it is though, just because of the Wi-Fi connectivity issues. Here's one with formatted text as well as an attachment. We'll download that Excel attachment. It'll load it in Polaris Office Suite. There you go. That's a pretty good screen for looking at spreadsheets and PowerPoint presentations. Now I wanted to show you how the
other email client works, but like the problems I've had on some other Verizon Android devices, and this one runs Android 2.3 Gingerbread, I've been unable to get any of the email accounts to configure. It always seems to time out and give an error about not being able to get a token. I've seen this exact same message on other devices. I just don't really know what's going on here. It happens both on 3G and Wi-Fi connections. And as you can see, we've lost our Wi-Fi connection here. We're back on 3G even though Wi-Fi is still enabled. You can see it says Wi-Fi networks are available, but it lost the connection at some point in time.